Welcome to the English with Kirsty podcast from www.englishwithkirsty.com. Here I'll be sharing with you tips, information and other learning resources so that you can improve your business English. Hi everyone and welcome back to the English with Kirsty podcast. Today I have a special episode for you and it's the second in our 10-part series. So for anyone who missed the first one, go back and listen to it. But it's I'm producing 10 episodes to look at 10 different ways in which we can learn, to celebrate learning in its different forms. And today we're looking at learning through events. And I thought a really good way to do that would be to invite some guests. So I have 4 guests here today. And we are talking about the LocLunch events and how you can learn through them, what they've learned, what you can learn, and why attending events with colleagues and other people from the same industry and beyond is a good way to develop yourself personally and professionally. So let's start with the voice that people already know from the podcast. And actually, yours was the first LocLunch event that I ever went to, Patrícia. So do you want to tell us something about who you are, what your involvement is, and let people know what you do as well, because they may not know you if they haven't been to our other events.
So hello everyone, and thank you, Kirsty, for inviting me. I'm Patrícia. So I'm Portuguese. I'm based in Lisbon. I am a freelance translator. I have a scientific background, so I work with the scientific and technical content, particularly in the fields of chemistry and life sciences. And I'm one of the LocLunch ambassadors for Lisbon and Cascais. So Lisbon and Cascais are very close. So instead of having one in Lisbon and one in Cascais, we decided to form a team. So it's me and Marta Boer at the moment. And usually we do it 1 month in Lisbon, 1 month in Cascais. It's not it's flexible, so it's not. It doesn't have to be always like this. Usually we try to do it this way.
And you had one online, didn't you, last year?
Yes, sometimes. So not so often now, because now if possible, we meet in person. But sometimes we also do online events. I think we had one last year. Last year only one, I believe.
I think so, because I checked to see when the next one is. But yeah, that was my first one. That was really good to see you all and to be able to participate from miles away. And so, why did you decide to get involved?
So I moved to the industry language about 4 years ago, or less 3 years and a half. And when I discovered the LocLunch initiative, which interestingly I discovered through Roberta, that we will listen after in a while, she's also with us today. And so I decided to try it and to attend. It was at the time it was Ivana Baldioli. She was bringing the initiative to Lisbon. I think it was in September 2022, if I'm not wrong. And I joined the first meetings, and I thought it was a very interesting initiative. And after a while, we discussed the hypothesis of doing it together. So it was easier to have 2 people organizing everything. And so it's a good help. And of course, she agreed. She was enthusiastic about it. So I started doing that with her. Last year, Ivana was very busy and she had to move away. So she attends some of the LocLunches whenever she can, but she could not be available to organize them anymore. And so Marta got into the team, and now we are the 2 of us at the moment. I think LocLunch is a great initiative. We can meet people and network, of course. But for me, it was a very good opportunity to learn more about this industry, because it was very new to me. So it was really an amazing opportunity to know other freelancers, of course, but also people with other roles, and discover a bit what can be done in the industry. So project managers, program managers, business developers, LSP owners, and so on. And also I found it, for me, it has another advantage, which is to practice English. Because, I spend all my day reading and writing in English, or at least reading and writing in Portuguese. Let's put it this way. But to speak, I don't have many opportunities. And so, because a lot of people attend the meetings, people with different backgrounds and from different places. So it's always most of the time we speak in English, and for me it's good also because of that.
Okay, yeah, and we'll see whether that's the same all the way around. And I'm just thinking, before I continue with the introductions, it might be very useful for people who don't know what we're talking about, just to explain very quickly what the LocLunches are, because I just assume that people know, but we have all kinds of podcast listeners. So what happens? You get together, you have lunch or dinner. From what I've seen, it doesn't have to be at lunchtime, and share experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add in?
Or maybe you do want one of the other LocLunchers ambassadors to explain? I don't know.
Okay, Roberta, do you want to
Yes.
explain and tell us, because we've already heard about you so far, do you want to carry on, explain what the LocLunches are, and then say something about yourself as well, so we can get to know you a bit?
Absolutely, yes. Hello, everyone. I am Roberta. As Patrícia said, we had the opportunity to talk about LocLunches back in the days. So that's why she got involved in that. LocLunches are informal gatherings of people in the localization industry. So whoever is in the local community or is spending time in the city, they can join the group. Usually it takes place like once per month or more, as I saw that Spain is very active in that. It can be either online or offline, so in real life. Nowadays, I think the tendency and preference is to meet in real life. Although I have to say that at least for LocLunch in Rome, for which I am the ambassador, during the COVID time, it was a great opportunity to have our meetings online and to connect with like people everywhere in the world. So that was a great thing for us. We converted what seemed a problem, a challenge, into an enormous opportunity. So what happens during LocLunches is just a bunch of friendly people gathering, talking about everything that can be life experiences, can be work, it can be struggles you have in the profession, or solutions you want to find together. It can be informal or more formal if you have some special guests. And it really depends, I think, on the ambassador, how they want to organize the meetings. Because I saw some differences all over the places. And I think that is something that makes it also so special, because as in our profession, I am a freelance. So being a freelancer means that you are your own brand. So you make this business decisions, at least for yourself. And that's how people perceive you. So the way you, as an ambassador or with the co-ambassadors, decide to organize your meetings even reflects the way you are. So it really depends. There is no a standard formula, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, the meetings are shaped by the people who organize them and who attend. I guess every community develops its own identity within the umbrella of the LocLunches. So how about you as an individual then? What do you do? Can you tell us something a bit about yourself and your work?
Yes. So I am an Italian freelance translator and language consultant. I am based in Rome, and I've been in this industry for the last 18 years now. I translate mainly from English and French into Italian. And I work mainly in marketing, tourism, travel, hospitality, but also into architecture, engineering, and business on a smaller scale. I am the LocLunch ambassador in Rome, and I also volunteer in women in localization for the Italian chapter.
Yeah, that's going to be another whole other episode as well. So it's good to mention that too, because that's another way, more other meetings, other organizations to support professionals and professional development. And yeah, I think it's good to maybe mention that as well as we're going through what we can learn. So when you're sharing in the future, if you want to add anything about that, then please you talk about both, because they are both opportunities for us to learn and develop.
With pleasure.
Yeah, because I've been keep gate crashing the Portuguese chapter for women in localization, is because for anyone who doesn't know, I'm not involved in the localization industry, but I'm working with many people who are. So for me, this is a great opportunity to learn as well, not as somebody who is directly involved, but as somebody who can better support their clients when I understand more about some of the issues and challenges that my clients face. So that's why I keep showing up in places where I don't really belong. But it's very useful. So Lisa, I met you this week when you came to my networking event. It was very good to meet you there. And now we're going to find out a bit more about you and what you do in LocLunch. Spain, is it? Which one is it?
I'm in Barcelona, LocLunch Barcelona. Yeah, that's basically I got into LocLunch because I live and work alone. So I'm in my home office all day, every day.
With your cat.
And I was thought it might be a good idea to get out and network and socialize a bit. So I was looking around to see what was on, and I came across LocLunch. And I thought, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I went along to one of the lunches. And I think it was at my first LocLunch or second. Now I can't remember. But it was just before COVID kicked in and we went into lockdown. But at one of the lunches, I ended up sitting beside EwK272, who actually started the LocLunch community here in Barcelona. She's the executive director of the Global Chamber at Barcelona, Madrid, Valencia, Malaga. Yes, a woman with her finger in a lot of pies. I don't know how she still has time for LocLunch. But I got chatting to her there. I was sitting beside her, and she contacted me later to ask if I'd be interested in joining the team, which at that point was only EwK and also Mark. He's the owner of an LSP here in Barcelona, Technologies. And so I gave it some thought, and I said, yeah, why not give it a go? And then we went into lockdown, and that was it. We didn't have any online events. We thought people would be busy, I don't know, making bread as you did during COVID and doing like online yoga or whatever. So we didn't actually hold any online events, but we got straight into it as soon as lockdown was over. And then I started helping to organize. So that was, that was in 2001, I think I started. So I've been with them ever since. So now we're a 4-strong team in Barcelona at the moment. So not like Roberta, she's a one-woman show.
Totally, yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's tough. I admire you, Roberta.
And so do you rotate? Do you have like, if there's 4 of you, do you say like, us 2 will do this event, or one person does an event and then you swap around?
We try to rotate. So maybe, yeah, exactly. I'd organize an event. We try to hold 2 events every month if we can. One of those will be like a lock drinks event, evening after work drinks. And then we usually try to organize a lunch or some other activity. So yeah, we take it in turns, and it depends. If somebody's really busy and they can't do anything that month, somebody else takes over. So we share, or maybe one person would. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. That's why I admire Roberta taking the whole thing on. Or one person would create the post and organize or look for the venue. Another person would write up a post event for LinkedIn. So we mix it up basically, and we just take on, if one person has more time than another, they take it on. So it depends really from month to month.
And did you have some kind of hiking event, or was that not you?
Yes, that's yeah. I actually I do the hiking events.
I see so many posts and then I thought, is that you? Was that someone else? But no, it was
That's
you,
me,
wasn't it?
yeah. If there's any hiking to be done, I'll do it. So I actually really enjoy organizing those events. Actually, we have one on the 16th, which is a hiking event, which is about 7-kilometer walk. Then we are going to visit Colonia Güell, which is an industrial colony just outside Barcelona. So we'll just have a look at some modernist buildings, and then after that, we'll all meet for lunch. So that's already, all tickets gone already. We have 15 people signed up and people on the waiting list. So that only went up yesterday
That's
morning.
very cool.
So that was quite popular.
I think that's also a way to talk to people, isn't it? Like if you're walking,
it's fantastic.
If you're looking around, it's very relaxed. Well, not, maybe it depends how intense your hike is, but I think when you're actually doing activities, then
I try to keep it reasonably flat, but it's hard to avoid a little bit of uphill. But and And yeah, a little bit about myself. I've been based in Barcelona since 2005. After spending about 12 years in London before that. I'm originally from Ireland, so you can detect from my accent and surname. And I've been freelancing as a freelance translator since 2007. And I work from Spanish and Catalan into English, and mainly in environment, sustainability reporting, biodiversity, and basically anything related to nature. I'm quite obsessed with the natural world.
Okay.
So love anything related to that. I also work as a proofreader and English editor. And yeah, that's really me. So I've been freelancing for like 17 years. Like a veteran.
You've seen a lot of change as well, I imagine.
A lot of changes. A lot of changes all that time. Unfortunately, not for the better recently. I think all of us have been affected over the last year or so, from what I'm hearing from other translators.
And I think that's also why community is so important as well. Though, like in the times when things are more challenging, it's important to have your community around you and people who understand what's going on and who are in the same position. And for anyone who is wants to connect with our guests, I'm going to put their LinkedIn links on the website page for this episode, so you'll be able to connect with them as well and find out more about them and link up that way. So which is exactly what I did with Magali, because I don't actually know her. We connected on LinkedIn, and then I saw that she was involved with LocLunch Germany or Berlin, and I thought, there's a potential guest for my episode that I'm planning. And so I'm happy that you said yes, even though you know nothing about me really. So that's good. The power of LinkedIn.
Well, I did come across some of your posts on LinkedIn before, so you were not a total stranger to
Okay,
me.
my name gets around. That's good.
Absolutely.
So yeah, tell us something about you and what you do in Berlin.
Well, actually, so I'm Magali. I have a French name, and I'm half French, but also half German. And I'm based in Berlin because, well, my German side is stronger, obviously. I work as a freelance translator specializing in SEO translation, and I have been a LocLunch ambassador since COVID, actually. Yeah, because for obvious reasons, because during COVID I was feeling um, the the pressure of being only with my family and not surrounded by any professionals. So I love my family, but I needed to have some, professional talk. And yeah, and so I came across LocLunch and thought, wow, that's great, and that's it's for free, and it's especially during COVID, it was really like a revelation. I think the first LocLunch I attended was in San Diego.
I've
So
been
it
to
was.
those. Yeah, they have a lot of online ones, don't they?
They are special
Marina.
because Marina is really a great host. But it was also, well, you all remember COVID. It was like actually traveling, like getting out of this. So this was my first experience, and I have the great honor to be a co-ambassador to the first LocLunch ambassador ever, which is Michele Cerioni. He was the first one initiated by Jan, who invented LocLunch, and yeah, he did the first LocLunches here in Berlin. We're taking turns organizing, so I totally agree with Lisa. It takes a lot of work, but also a lot of energy. You have to sometimes you want to, but you got so much work to do that it's hard to find the time and energy to do it. And being two really helps, because if it's not the one, then it's the other. We also have a great community here with great ideas. We recently in December, we did a Loc Christmas market because our participants wanted to go to the Christmas market in the summer. We had a Loc drinks in a beautiful beer garden, which is something which is very popular here in Berlin. Yeah, so we have a very vibrant community, and we also speak English most of the time, but LocLunch is also a place or an opportunity to hear all kinds of languages. I often hear Italian. We have a lot of Italians. I often hear Spanish. Sometimes I get to practice my Turkish a little. So that's something I really enjoy about LocLunch. I also think that I was thinking about that just before this episode. I also think that we are by nature, a very open-minded industry. Yeah, but I was wondering if you all would agree with this.
We're open-minded.
Yeah.
I think definitely. I mean, because as translators, we're involved in culture.
Mm.
So I think it's kind of automatic, that we're going to be open-minded. I think it definitely goes with the job.
We are curious.
Yeah.
So that's something that brings us to discover something more about anyone else, whether it's language, culture, habits, whatever. We're just curious by nature.
Yeah.
And my background is from the academia, so I was a researcher for some time. So I was really amazed the first time I participated in an event. It was an online event because it was in the end of COVID. That's where I met Roberta. So it was an Elia Together event online, and I was really amazed with the friendly atmosphere. I don't know, people really want to know other people, to talk to other people, to find out things, to exchange experience and so on. And I was very used to a very formal and a bit a very competitive environment, Not that people are not friendly, of course people are, but I don't know. There is a huge competition in research because it's difficult to have funds and so on. So I don't know. Here, okay, people may be competitors in a way, but I don't. That's not what overcomes the rest. That's really, I think people forget about that, and they really try to create a community where everybody feels well and feels valued, which is very important, despite the role you have, the task you perform or whatever. It's really amazing.
I think you see that on LinkedIn as well, in the community where people are trying to, help each other, support each other, recommend each other, and I guess that spills out into the events as well, whereby I guess if you are curious and interested and open-minded, you are going to create a more welcoming environment to bring new people into as well. So how about, this episode is also looking at learning and the way that our learning doesn't have to only be in a course environment, that we can learn through discussion and through sharing with other professionals. This is open to anyone and all of you. What would you say are some of the things that you've learned through being involved in LocLunches, and how has it helped you to develop either personally or professionally?
Okay, I can start maybe. I'm Patrícia. So no, I was thinking when I was listening to Magali, I was thinking about something that sometimes I feel a bit like a tourist guide. That's how we call it, tourist guide, in the sense that I always try to take people to different places to organize the LocLunch events. Usually it's a dinner. We make it for dinner. In Lisbon, I think it works better. I don't know. We have already made the loc drinks, but usually it's a dinner. And I always try to find different restaurants. So like those kind of restaurants that a regular tourist that comes to Lisbon will never find. So those kind of places that only the locals know. And I think that's something that the people who join us really appreciate. So they like to go there to eat a very traditional, good food, not expensive, because there are a lot of restaurants where you pay a lot only because it's fashionable restaurant or so. So in this sense, it's not me that is. So I'm learning as well because I'm discovering new places. But I think it's a new experience for them. So I believe that they are learning something with me. Let's put it this way. So I don't know. For me, it's really interesting. I really need to be. So before coming into this industry, I think all my life I worked in teams with other people. So I'm really excited into. I really love to work as a freelance translator. Yeah, I discovered it late, but it's really what I like to do. But this part of being alone and at home, really, it was difficult for me to get used to it. So when I found out this opportunity to meet people and to with a certain to frequently meet them, and so we kind of, okay, we are not friends, but we are very good colleagues. Maybe after some time, people really friends.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important, and maybe people prefer some people prefer to stay in their at home in their places. I don't know, doing the regular things. But if they try it, I think everybody likes it usually. So I really advise people to try it and attend one.
I think that especially now with AI and the developments that are crazy fast, a LocLunch for me at least is a good opportunity to understand what's going on, because you have all kinds of it was said before, you have all kinds of roles and all kinds of perspectives. So it helps me really understand where this is going and how I could adapt. And I think it's very valuable for this exactly in this moment.
Yeah, I think the great thing about these the LocLunch events is that there is their informal nature, and the focus is also on having fun. So it's not really stuffy and super professional. And I think people share in that kind of environment, people are more likely to be open and share their concerns. I think that's one of the major things that I find about LocLunch anyway. And also that we have, people of different generations as well. So it's like interesting for me to talk to the newbies, as I call them anyway, in the industry, and just to hear their concerns. And also are they prepared for the current situation in the translation or localization world? And how our experience is different. And also what I love about it is that the mutual support. For example, if somebody's struggling finding work, we really, really make an effort to help people out. What do you need? What's your problem? How can I help you? And I think this is one of the biggest things in the LocLunch community. And that's what it's about, basically, is supporting each other and creating that environment where people can be open.
Because that takes some vulnerability, doesn't it? If you're going to be open and say, I'm having this problem, you need to feel safe to do that. And exactly. I think sometimes if you're a freelancer, you don't really know where you can go to do that, because you don't want to just share with your entire LinkedIn network. But, you want to talk to someone. And I think if there are opportunities to do that, someone that's a bit more restricted in the number of people that will be there, or you can get to know them a bit first before you open up, then that definitely helps. If in terms of finding solutions, it's personal enough to to maybe know people in the local area, or to just to offer some advice or support.
And also you get at least in Barcelona, we get a lot of people who come regularly to our events, so you have the chance to actually really get to know people over time, because a lot of people, they just repeat and repeat and repeat. So you build up relationships with these people as well, which I find really, really nice. I don't know if that's the same in other LocLunches. Do you have a lot of repeat LocLunchers?
Yes, in Rome, yes. And that's the beauty of it, because you can really build the community.
Yeah.
And that's something that is stable, and that everything else just rounds around. And although I don't have any co-ambassador, as you said, I feel like lonely now.
Maybe you'll find one after this.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually having regulars helps a lot, because I'm not the one in charge all the time. So I have other people that are already experienced in LocLunches, and they just are there. Rather than I am taking care of everyone, they would just, involve people in conversations, because there is this genuine interest in getting to know people in an informal way. It is a safe space. We always imagine it in Rome like being in someone else's living room. Like it happens very often for us that you go at some people's place, you don't know these people, but they are like your friends' friends. So automatically you are a friend.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same mentality that we bring in our LocLunch in Rome. And as you said, Lisa, it's a safe space. People share the struggling or the successes, so we celebrate together.
Mm.
And also, it is a very friendly environment for sharing knowledge as well. Because
Yes.
this is something that we see a lot, at least in our LocLunch. Many people might know something about a new event, something that is happening, a trend, or even new or almost new positions in the localization world. For example, I am a language lead and also lead linguist. And this is something that was not of public domain for many people. So some of our freelancers were freelancers and imagining themselves as translators, and that's it. I wouldn't say it's limitative, but still you have other opportunities. So we had guests, so people maybe working in the quality sector, so quality assessment. That's another opportunity you might explore. But you only get to know that once you know they exist. If you stay in your little world, you might not know they exist. You might not know that's a good opportunity for you. So this is something that I feel really valuable about building a community and sharing a safe space for everyone. And I think that being among peers who have your own mentality and sharing mutual interests sets the, just pave the road for all the conversation. That's the reason why they get so friendly in no time.
Yeah. It's true.
And I guess it's a kind of, I know that within Women in Localization, there is a more formalized mentoring program, but I guess it's also a kind of mentoring, even if it's more unofficial, with people coming in who are maybe new to the industry or even new to, like, they may have experience, they may have had a career change, but in terms of finding people who are a bit further down that road than you are and being helped, it doesn't always happen in terms of formal mentoring. It can also just be, someone who can give you some advice or give you some tips. Does that happen?
Yes, totally. Also because it stretches like way beyond the LocLunch. Because at least for a regular community as we have with newcomers and new people coming here and there, you can move the conversation from the LocLunch itself to a WhatsApp group and then to personal conversations, and then people become friends and they start going out together. So it really goes beyond what you build in that lunch or dinner event.
And do you see that happening, all of you, with people becoming friends or maybe organizing something together or co-working or, I don't know, going for dinner as a smaller group? Does that tend to happen in all of the areas?
Well, in my case, it's hiking. So, I like organize a hike, and then so do you do these hikes often? I said, yeah, I love hiking. Oh, so do I. I said, oh, well, maybe we can just, set up a WhatsApp group, and which I'm doing now, with people who are interested in hiking and people that I've met through LocLunch. So I'm in the process of doing that now. So that's something we do outside lunch. So yeah, I think it can, beyond the LocLunch events.
Yeah, and I guess also if somebody finds out about something good that's coming up at a conference or an event or something that isn't directly related, it's a way to share that knowledge, and maybe other people can find out about things that they've missed, because you can't know everything. And so the more people you know that could pass on this good information, I'm thinking about WhatsApp groups now, you were talking about that, then it's easy just to share information in a group like that, and then more people have access to it immediately.
And I was thinking just of another side. It's the contrary, actually, of the safe space. We in Berlin, we have like half of the people are regulars and half of the people are new, I would say. And what we try to do is whenever we have a major event here in the city, like, I don't know, some conference, we try to invite these people to, or have some kind of joint event, which I think is a great opportunity also for the Berlin LocLunches to meet people from all over the world without leaving their city. And that's something that's we don't have that often, of course, but I think that's also something which energizes the community, you know, which gives a lot of new input.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have something similar here in Lisbon. For example, we always have what we call a Web Summit edition of the LocLunch. So we have Web Summit on November. So it's a big summit for technology and IT and so on. And there are people from localization attending that come to Lisbon for the summit. And so we organize a meeting, a LocLunch meeting during the days they are here, in a place close to the place where Web Summit is taking place, so people can easily attend. And it's interesting to see that people like to go and to meet people from Lisbon and people that are coming outside and really, and sometimes they didn't even know what LocLunch was, but they discovered through Web Summit. So it's nice.
Yeah, and I guess if they're not from the area, they can then go back. And I was thinking if we maybe broaden it out a bit, so we've got 4 countries represented here. So within the countries where you're based, are you aware of many other groups in other large cities? Or I don't really know the deal in the UK, because I tend to go to the Portuguese events when I can, and they're online. And I tend to follow those. But I think we have one. We definitely have one in London, but I'm not sure about other places. How is it in the other countries that are represented here?
Yeah, I think there's, somebody's just set up a LocLunch in Saragossa. Another Spanish to English translator. She's based there, and she's organizing it. She just posted this morning, I think, and it'll be her first LocLunch. So that's really exciting. I think it's going to be held maybe next week or something. So that didn't exist before. I don't know how many there are across Spain in total. I'm not sure. But that was another
I know
new
2
one.
more at least. I think it's
yeah.
LocLunch Valencia with Rodrigo Conradi. I'm not sure about the surname, sorry. LocLunch Valencia and LocLunch Oviedo, maybe it's Oviedo in Galicia.
Okay.
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 Yes, it's a Portuguese translator that is based there. So I know him. So at least these 2 I know.
And Madrid.
And also,
And Madrid probably.
Yeah, and also like our former LocLunch Barcelona team member Danielle Cerejo, she moved to Amsterdam, and there was no LocLunch there, and she's just setting it up there. So bringing the experience from Barcelona with her to Amsterdam to set up a LocLunch. So that's fantastic. I mean, it's growing. Yeah, so I don't know how many. I'd like to know how many there are around the world, actually.
I think
Any of you know?
20?
20.
No, more than 120.
Probably.
Like what? Yeah.
More like that.
It's amazing.
It's growing,
it's all around the world. It's really amazing.
I took part once in a LocLunch Singapore, which was a very interesting LocLunch for me. Shenzhen in China. I know there's LocLunch India, so I always tell the Berlin LocLunchers take the opportunity to participate in an online LocLunch, because it's such. I mean, especially for our industry, we. Most of the time our clients are somewhere else in the world, and this is a great opportunity to meet them, maybe not directly, but to get some kind of connection into another country without having to go there, because we cannot always do that. So yeah, I think it's really one of the best things we have in the industry.
But also,
I mean, the online thing does make that possible, doesn't it, to access places that you couldn't. I mean, if I were to attend the closest one to me, that's at least a 3-hour round trip just traveling. So yeah, there's that. But I think being able to access events, I know it's not quite the same in terms of, having dinner with people, but I think it is also a way to listen to other perspectives and to get other information that you may not have considered, and maybe to understand if you're doing, especially if you're doing work in a certain part of the world, that you can understand a bit more and maybe make some contacts there, because you never know what will happen, how you can support each other. But for people who are in the localization industry and who are interested, is there like what would be the best way for them to find out if there's something locally to them? The newsletter on LinkedIn or?
No, there's actually a website which
Okay.
is called loclunch.net, where you can find, or you should be able to find all the LocLunches that are planned for the next months or weeks, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
And
also on
every-
LinkedIn, there's LocLunch Global, but I don't know how easy it is. Actually, I haven't been on for a while, but to track down what events are on where. But I think if you sign up to that page, LocLunch Global or LocLunch Iberia, you'll be notified. You'll see when they're announced.
Yeah, some of them are pages that have newsletters and some are groups. So I guess it's worth doing a search to see if there's also a group in your area. And then you can...
And also, for example, in the website, I think there is a list of all ambassadors, I believe, and so people maybe can just go there. And if, for example, you are traveling to a certain city, you can check who's the LocLunch ambassador there and contact them on LinkedIn, for example, and saying, I'm going to be in Lisbon in this period, and if possible, we always try to organize one meeting for that period, so they can attend. So.
This is something we do also between ambassadors. So if I have someone in my community that is going to, for example, it happened recently to Porto for some time. So I put that lady in contact with the LocLunch ambassador in Porto, and I sent a message to her. I didn't know her before. It's just that we are both LocLunch ambassadors. So I was saying, okay, I gave your contact to this lady. She's staying in Porto for some time, and she would love to join your LocLunches. So you need to get in contact. So they did, and she's one of the happy regulars now. And same thing happened with Algeria, with Gabriela. She has a colleague that is coming to Rome, spending 1 month here. So she directed that colleague to me, and she's attending our next LocLunch in like 1 week now. So this is how, the community grows, and it's how you feel like catered and also valued. Because if someone spends their own time just to, put you in connection and put you at ease in a new place, I think it's something valuable for yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot. I've never done it. Maybe in the future, in terms of living somewhere else, like, changing country, changing city. I think, there's a lot, especially in another country, there's a lot to learn. And if you can have some people there that maybe you don't know, but are connected in some way, then it's good to have that support, someone to ask if you don't know something, or, just to start building your network in the new city. That must be really valuable to not have to try, because I think it is quite hard when you move somewhere new and you don't know anybody. Then if this organization can take some of the stress out of that, then it sounds like a really good thing.
Especially as a freelancer, when you're moving somewhere else as a freelancer and you don't have a team that can be your first go-to persons, then it's really difficult. And
It happened to me directly, because I spent 4 years in Africa. And when I decided to come back and go back freelancing, I was kind of restarting in the profession. So my old network was like non-existing anymore. Like, there were some people, but not regulars. So that's how I found out about LocLunches in Rome. I was not the first ambassador, and I inherited the LocLunch in Rome when the former ambassador, Sara, was moving to Turin. So she started a new one in Turin, and I inherited it in Rome, because I really loved it so much, and it was so helpful for me restarting in the localization industry. And so it was a happy place for me, and I just wanted to grant that for all the people that were like to join.
Yeah, I've heard only very positive things today, and I think that's like, I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but sometimes like networking can get a really bad name. I don't see it that way, because I really enjoy networking and some of the the events that I'm running, and trying to meet new people and trying to connect people. I think the idea itself is a really positive one. I think there are some organizations that have taken it down a very different path. And so sometimes people hear the word like, oh, I don't need that in my life. But generally, I think when you listen to the conversations we've had today and all the valuable support that people have got, then there is a lot of power in networking, both professionally in terms of discovering new information, new opportunities, but also on a personal level, just feeling less isolated as a freelancer, as can often happen when you don't have colleagues. Like some of my colleagues, former colleagues, I'm glad to never see again, but you know, there is something about being surrounded by people and, you know, the celebrating the good things and helping with the challenges, but we need people around us.
Really.
So yeah, if listeners are interested, then you should check out the website. What is it? LocLunch.net?
Net.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to check that out too because I didn't know it existed. So thank you for that. And does anyone have anything else they want to share before we finish? What would you say to people who are thinking about joining? Coming
Join.
along?
Don't
Yes.
think,
Don't
just join.
hesitate.
Well, if you're coming to Barcelona, message me. Or if you're
Yes.
in Barcelona and want to join us, of course, send me a message.
And if you like hiking, even better, yeah?
If you like hiking, even better.
Yeah, same thing for Berlin, especially if you're coming to Berlin as a tourist, don't hesitate to contact us because we're always very happy to have people from wherever at our table. We usually do LocLunch at a table, so we'd love to have you there.
Okay, well, I might take you off on that. I
Okay.
might be coming to Berlin soon. So,
Okay.
yeah,
We'd be happy to have you.
thank you. And it's been really good. Everyone, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your experiences and thank you for your openness. And I'm going to add all your links so you can, if the listeners want to get in touch with you, they'll be able to do that through the website page. And
Good.
thank you all for contributing to this because I think it's really important that while we're all busy with like CPD and learning stuff, and I love learning as well. I mean, it wouldn't be good to be a trainer if I didn't love learning myself, but learning can take many forms and sharing with colleagues and learning from one another is another way that can happen. So thank you for coming today and yeah, have a great week.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kirsty, for
Kirsty.
inviting
Thank
me.
you very
much.
Invite. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English with Kirsty podcast. If you have any questions or comments, my email address is kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com, or you can go to www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast, where you'll find information about the individual episodes.